My black janitor thinks mopping floors around my gym makes him understand fighting. Trevor Banks said it loud enough for everyone at Elite Strike MMA to hear, and then he laughed. That cruel, performative laugh that echoed through the training floor and made all 12 students stop their drills to turn and stare. He walked across the mat to where Darius Williams stood quietly with his mop and bucket, ripped the wooden handle from his weathered hands, and hurled it across the room so hard it crashed against the far wall. You belong on your knees cleaning, not standing here watching real fighters like you're one of us. Darius said nothing, his face showing nothing. Even as Trevor stepped onto the floor he'd just mopped with muddy shoes and kicked his bucket over, soapy water flooding everywhere. That's what a guy like you is good for. Trevor kept laughing, right up until Darius threw his first punch. 6 hours earlier, Darius arrived at the gym at 5 in the morning. The parking lot was empty except for his 15-year-old Honda Civic. He unlocked the service entrance with the key Mr. Patterson had given him 3 years ago when he hired him. The gym smelled like rubber mats and disinfectant. Darius flipped the lights on one section at a time. He'd learned which switches controlled which areas. Small efficiencies mattered when you worked alone. He started in the locker rooms, wiped down the mirrors, checked the toilets, refill the paper towels, empty the trash. He worked methodically, the same pattern every morning. His movements were economical, no wasted motion. In the main training area, he mopped the floors in straight lines. The mop moved in steady arcs, left to right, advanced 6 inches, left to right. Someone watching might notice how precise his footwork was, how his weight shifted smoothly from one leg to the other. Behind one of the lockers, Darius found a small action figure, a UFC fighter in a fighting stance. He picked it up carefully and placed it on top of the locker where its owner would see it. His fingers lingered on the plastic figure for just a moment. At 7 o'clock, Trevor Banks arrived. He walked past Darius without acknowledgement. Darius had grown used to being invisible. 3 years of being walked past. 3 years of conversations stopping when he entered a room. 3 years of being just the janitor. Trevor began his morning routine. Stretching, shadowboxing. The early students would arrive at 8. By noon, the gym would be full. Darius would work around them all, moving trash cans, cleaning up spills, staying out of the way. At 12:30, Trevor taught his advanced class. 20 students, mostly young men in their 20s and 30s. They hung on Trevor's every word. He was 38 years old in peak condition with a record of 15, 2 in amateur MMA. The key to a successful takedown, Trevor demonstrated, is commitment. You can't hesitate. You drive through your opponent like they're not even there. A student named Dylan tried the move. He was 22, lean, eager. He wanted to fight professionally someday. Not like that, Trevor said. You're being weak. You think being polite will win fights? He pushed Dylan backward. Again. Darius was cleaning nearby, wiping down the heavy bags. He could see Dylan's technique was off. The student's hips weren't aligned. His weight distribution was wrong. He'd hurt his knee if he kept practicing that way. Excuse me, Darius said quietly. His foot position. Trevor stopped mid-sentence. He turned slowly. Did I ask for input from the cleaning staff? The gym went quiet, 20 students watching. No, sir, Darius said. I just thought, I don't think. Clean. Trevor turned back to Dylan. And if you train hard enough, you won't end up mopping floors at 45 years old. That's what happens when you're soft. Dylan glanced at Darius, then looked away. Darius picked up his spray bottle and moved to the windows. At 4 in the afternoon, the youth class began. Teenagers, some training seriously, others just getting exercise. Darius watched them from the storage closet as he organized cleaning supplies. Then he saw her. Maya Williams walked through the door with 2 friends. She was 16 now. The last time Darius had held her, she'd been 6 years old. She wore black workout clothes and had her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She laughed at something her friend said. She looked so much like her mother. Darius stepped into the hallway. Maybe today she'd look at him and remember. Remember when he taught her to tie her shoes. Remember when he'd carry her on his shoulders. Remember when she called him Dad. Maya, he said softly. She turned. For a second, their eyes met. Then her friend spoke. Who's that? Maya's face went cold. Nobody, just the janitor. She walked past him, didn't look back. Darius stood in the hallway for a long moment. Then he returned to the storage closet. He sat on an overturned bucket and pulled out his wallet. Inside was a photo. Maya, at 6 years old, standing next to him. He was holding a championship belt. She was holding a trophy he'd won for her at a carnival, both of them smiling. He looked at that photo every day. From his office window, Trevor Banks watched this interaction. He saw Darius speak to Maya, saw her walk away, saw Darius disappear into the storage closet. Trevor's jaw clenched. His hands gripped the window frame. For a moment, something that looked like guilt crossed his face. Then he turned away. At 6 o'clock, the evening class assembled. This was the big one. Adults, serious practitioners, the gym filled with bodies. Easily 300 people when you counted students, observers, and families. Trevor stood at the center of the mat, demonstrating a chokehold. The rear naked choke is one of the most effective submissions in MMA, but you have to position your arms correctly. He had a student demonstrate on him, then reversed roles. Darius was mopping in the corner, staying out of the way. But he could see the student's thumb was in the wrong position. The student could damage Trevor's trachea if the hold slipped. The student adjusted, accidentally putting more pressure on Trevor's windpipe. Trevor coughed, pushed him off. "Pay attention!" Trevor snapped. "You trying to kill me?" The student looked confused. "I'm doing what you showed me." "No, you're not. Your thumb—" Trevor stopped. "Just practice with someone else." Darius watched this unfold. The student was going to hurt someone, maybe himself. "His thumb needs to be outside," Darius said quietly to the student nearest him. "Not tucked in." The student blinked. "What?" Trevor's head snapped around. "What did you just say?" Darius straightened. "Nothing, sir. I was just—" "No." Trevor walked across the mat, the entire gym watching now. "You were correcting technique. You were giving my student instruction." "I apologize," Darius said. "I didn't mean to overstep." "You didn't mean to overstep." Trevor laughed without humor. "The janitor thinks he knows MMA." Silence. 300 people holding their breath. And that's when Trevor saw it. Maya standing with her friends near the entrance, watching her father be humiliated. Trevor's eyes lit up. "Wait," he said. "Maya Williams, that's your last name, isn't it?" Maya froze. "And this," Trevor pointed at Darius. "This is Darius Williams." He walked to Darius, stood 6 inches from his face. "Is she your daughter?" Darius said nothing. His breathing stayed steady. In through the nose, 4 counts. Hold, 7 counts. Out through the mouth, 8 counts. "I asked you a question," Trevor said. "Is Maya Williams your daughter?" "Yes," Darius said quietly. Trevor turned to the crowd. "Did everyone hear that? The janitor, the man who mops your floors and cleans your toilets, is Maya's father." Maya's face went red. Her friends whispered to each other. "Dad, don't—" she started. "Dad?" Trevor's eyebrows shot up. "She calls you Dad? That's generous considering." He circled Darius like a predator, blocking him in, making it impossible to leave without physically pushing through him. "Do you know what this man did?" Trevor asked the crowd. "Does everyone here know the story?" No one answered. "In 2015, Trevor said, this man was caught cheating. Steroids. He was a fighter then, had a title, lost everything when the truth came out." He laughed. "Now he cleans up after real athletes." Darius's hands clenched at his sides, but he didn't move. "That's why Maya pretends not to know him," Trevor continued. "Would you claim a cheater as your father? A man who was too weak to win fairly? A man who got caught and lost everything, his career, his wife, his daughter's respect?" "That's enough," Darius said. His voice was still quiet, but something in it made Trevor pause. "Or what?" Trevor stepped closer. "What are you going to do, old man? Mop me to death?" The crowd laughed. Not everyone, but enough. Dylan, the young student, was grinning. Some of the teenage students were recording on their phones. Mrs. Chen, a 60-year-old woman who taught Tai Chi, frowned. "This seems unnecessary," she said to her neighbor. But no one told Trevor to stop. Trevor walked to where Darius had left his cleaning supplies. He picked up the mop bucket. It was full of dirty water. He carried it back and set it at Darius's feet. "You know what?" Trevor said. "I'll make you a deal. Prove you're not a nobody. Prove you're not just a washed-up liar." He kicked the bucket. Water splashed across Darius's work pants, the only pants Darius owned that were decent enough for work. They soaked through immediately. Darius stood perfectly still. "Fight me," Trevor said. "Right here, right now. Show everyone that you're not just a cheater who got caught. Show your daughter you're actually a man." The gym erupted in noise, students talking over each other, some excited, some uncomfortable. "Trevor, that's completely inappropriate." Mr. Patterson, the gym owner, pushed through the crowd. He was 65, gray-haired, trying to maintain order. "He insulted my teaching," Trevor said, "in front of my students. He thinks he knows better than me, so let him prove it." "I don't want to fight you." Darius said. Of course you don't. Trevor walked over to Maya. She backed up. Your daughter's watching, Darius. She's watching you do nothing. Again. Just like you did nothing when they took your title. Just like you did nothing when your wife left. Just like you've done nothing for 10 years except push a mop. Dad, Maya said, her voice cracked. Just go. Please just go. Darius looked at his daughter. She was crying now. Her friends had stepped away from her, the entire gym staring. Trevor pulled out his phone. He pulled up a photo and held it in front of Darius's face. Is this you? It was a photo of Darius from 2015, holding a championship belt. Darius Silent Storm Williams, national MMA champion 2012 through 2015, record 28 to 1 inches. Darius said nothing. I'll tell you what happened, Trevor said to the crowd. He got caught with steroids in his system after his last fight, stripped of his title, banned from competition. Turns out his whole career was a lie. Every win, chemicals, every title, fake. That's not... Darius started. Not what? Trevor shoved the phone closer. You going to tell me the athletic commission was wrong, that the lab tests were wrong, that you're actually innocent? He pulled out his wallet and produced a photograph, the same one Darius kept in his pocket. Maya as a little girl, standing next to Darius after a fight. I found this taped in the storage closet, Trevor said. It wasn't true, but no one knew that. He keeps pictures of his daughter hidden away because he's not allowed near her, because she wants nothing to do with him. Trevor held the photo up for everyone to see. Then he dropped it on the wet floor. The frame cracked. Oops, Trevor said. Darius looked at the broken frame, at his daughter's face staring up through cracked glass. Trevor placed his shoe on top of it. You going to pick it up? Trevor asked. You going to bend down and scrape your precious memory off the floor like the garbage it is? Darius's breathing changed, still controlled, but faster now. Or, Trevor said, you could do something. You could show everyone here that you're not just a pathetic old man with a mop. He pressed down. The glass shattered completely. His heel twisted, grinding the photo into fragments. Maya made a sound, a gasp or a sob. That's when Darius spoke. 1 round, he said. The gym went silent. What? Trevor blinked. 1 round, Darius repeated. 5 minutes. Standard MMA rules. You and me. Trevor's smile returned. You're serious. Set the terms in front of everyone, Darius said. Make it official. You're 45 years old, Trevor said. I train 6 days a week. You clean toilets. I know what I am, Darius said. Do you? Trevor's smile faltered for just a second. Then it came back wider. Okay, he said. Let's set terms. When I win, and I will win, you leave this gym. You leave this city. You don't contact Maya again, ever. Maya gasped. No! And when you lose, Darius said, his voice quiet but clear, you tell the truth. Here, in front of everyone. About what really happened in 2015. Trevor's face went pale. For just a moment, fear flickered across his features. Then he recovered. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do, Darius said. They stared at each other, the entire gym holding its breath. Fine, Trevor said finally. Sure. If somehow you win, I'll tell everyone what a great champion you were, whatever fantasy you need. He turned to Mr. Patterson. Get a notary. Make this official. I want it documented when he loses. Mr. Patterson looked between them. His face was troubled. Gentlemen, I don't think this is... Get a notary, Trevor repeated. Or I walk. I'll take my students with me. You know I will. Mr. Patterson hesitated, then nodded. I'll call my lawyer. He's notarized before. While they waited, Trevor had one of the students write the terms on the gym's whiteboard. Everyone could see it. Everyone could record it on their phones. The terms were simple. Official agreement. Darius Williams versus Trevor Banks. 1 round, 5 minutes, standard MMA rules, no headgear. If Trevor wins, Darius leaves gym, leaves city, no contact with Maya Williams. If Darius wins, Trevor submits written confession to State Athletic Commission regarding 2015 incident. Trevor Banks, signature pending Darius Williams, signature pending, witnessed by James Patterson, owner, Sandra, Dylan, Thomas Morrison, senior members. The lawyer arrived 30 minutes later. A man in his 50s named David Reeves. He read the terms, frowned. This is highly unusual, he said. Just notarize it, Trevor said. Mr. Williams? Reeves addressed Darius directly. You understand that if you lose, you're agreeing to leave the city? To have no contact with your daughter? I understand, Darius said. Dad, don't do this, Maya said. She was standing off to the side now. Her friends had left. Please, just walk away. Darius looked at her, really looked at her for the first time in months. I can't, baby girl. Not this time. Why not? Tears ran down her face. You've stayed quiet for 10 years. Why does this matter now? Because, Darius said softly, you're watching, and I need you to know the truth, even if it costs me everything else. Trevor laughed. This is pathetic. Sign the paper, old man. Let's get this over with. They both signed. Reeves notarized the document. 4 witnesses signed below their names. When does this happen? Dylan asked. He was recording everything on his phone. Sunday, Mr. Patterson said. That's 2 days from now. Friday night is not appropriate for... 2 days is fine, Darius said. You need 2 days to prepare, Trevor mocked. Going to get in shape? Remember how to fight? Darius didn't respond. He picked up his mop and bucket. The water had spread across the floor. He began cleaning it up. Trevor watched him for a moment, then turned to his students. Class is over. Everyone be here Sunday at 6 p.m. You're going to see what happens when amateurs challenge professionals. The crowd dispersed slowly. People were talking in clusters, pulling out phones. The story was already spreading. Mrs. Chen approached Darius as he cleaned. Young man, she said quietly, I don't know what happened in your past, but I've watched you work here for 3 years. You move like someone who understands their body, like someone with training. Darius continued mopping. Thank you, ma'am. That chokehold advice you gave, she continued. You were right. I've taught martial arts for 40 years. I saw the mistake too. Doesn't matter now, Darius said. Perhaps it does. She touched his shoulder briefly. There's something about you. I can't place it, but I'll be watching Sunday. She walked away. Maya lingered near the entrance. When most people had left, she approached her father. Why did you do that? She asked. Why didn't you just walk away like you always do? Because, Darius said, meeting her eyes, walking away means you keep believing the lie. I can't let that happen. What lie? You'll find out Sunday, he said, one way or another. Maya shook her head. You're going to get hurt. He's going to destroy you, and then you'll be gone. Forever. Maybe, Darius said. But at least you'll know who your father really is, not the story you've been told. He returned to his cleaning. Maya stood there for a long moment. Then she left. The gym emptied. Darius finished mopping. He threw out the broken picture frame, carefully removing the torn photo. He placed it in his wallet next to the intact one he'd kept there all along. As he locked up for the night, Trevor's voice echoed from the parking lot. See you Sunday, janitor. Hope your daughter says goodbye. Darius didn't respond. He got in his Honda and drove home. 2 days until Sunday. 2 days until truth or exile. Saturday morning, 5 a.m. Darius's apartment was a single room in a converted warehouse. Affordable housing for low-income workers. The space was immaculate, bed made with hospital corners, small kitchenette spotless, everything in its place. He woke without an alarm. He'd trained himself to wake at 5 for 40 years. He started with stretching, not casual morning stretches, a specific sequence, hip flexors, hamstrings, shoulders, each position held for exactly 30 seconds, the flexibility routine of a professional athlete. Then breathing exercises, sitting cross-legged on the floor. Inhale through nose, 4 counts, hold 7. Exhale through mouth, 8. 20 repetitions. His heart rate dropped into the low 50s. After 20 minutes, he stood and moved through shadow boxing combinations. But these weren't random punches. Each combination had purpose. Jab, jab, cross hook, slip, slip counter. The movements were economical, no wasted energy, maximum efficiency. His footwork barely made sound on the floor, weight transferring smoothly like water flowing. When he finished, he walked to his closet. On the shelf sat a battered gym bag. He'd kept it hidden for 3 years. He pulled it down and unzipped it. Inside, hand wraps, yellowed with age, a championship belt, tarnished but real, and newspaper clippings. He picked up one article. The paper was fragile now, edges yellowing. Champion Williams stripped of title in doping scandal by Sarah Martinez. Sports Reporter, December 14, 2015. The State Athletic Commission announced today that MMA champion Darius Silent Storm Williams has been stripped of his national heavyweight title following a positive test for performance-enhancing substances. Williams, 35, held the title for 3 years with a record of 28-1. The test results are conclusive, said Commission Director Frank Morrison. Mr. Williams' post-fight sample contained banned substances at levels far exceeding trace amounts. This is a clear violation of athletic integrity. Williams maintains his innocence but has declined to fight the ruling due to lack of legal resources. His attorney withdrew from the case after Williams could not pay legal fees. The title will be awarded to runner-up contestant pending review. Darius read it for the 1,000th time. Then he pulled out another clipping from deeper in the bag. This one he'd never shown anyone. It was from a small community newspaper, 3 paragraphs, published 6 months after his ban. Local gym trainer Trevor Banks promoted to head coach. Trevor Banks, 28, has been promoted to head coach at Patterson's MMA gym after 3 years as assistant trainer. Banks said he was grateful for the opportunity and looked forward to growing the program. When asked about the promotion, gym owner James Patterson noted that Banks had recently received a substantial family inheritance that allowed him to invest in the gym's expansion. Darius sat on his bed holding both articles. He remembered that night in 2015, before the fight. He'd been with Maya. She was 6 years old. "Daddy, will you win tonight?" she'd asked, sitting on his lap in the locker room. "Always, baby girl," he'd said, "and I'll always come home to you." The fight had been easy. Technical knockout in the 3rd round. Clean, professional, no unusual fatigue, no enhanced strength, just skill and training. 48 hours later, the commission showed up at his door. Positive test results. Banned substances in his post-fight sample. "I didn't take anything," he'd told them. "The test doesn't lie," they'd responded. They'd confiscated his belt, frozen his fight purse, opened an investigation. His wife, Linda, had believed him at first. But as the legal bills mounted and the evidence piled up, she'd started to doubt. "Maybe you did it without realizing," she'd said. "Maybe it was in a supplement." "I don't take supplements," he'd replied. "You know that." "Then explain the test, Darius. Explain why they found it in your system." He couldn't. The attorney he'd hired charged $200 an hour. After 6 hours of work, Darius was out of money. The attorney withdrew. "You need someone who'll work pro bono," the attorney had said. "But cases like this, no one takes them. The evidence is too clear." Darius had tried to represent himself, but the commission wasn't interested in his testimony. Test results were test results. 6 months later, Linda filed for divorce. She got primary custody of Maya. Darius got supervised visitation 1 weekend a month. "I can't have my daughter around someone who makes such poor choices," Linda had told the judge. The visits lasted 2 years. Then Maya, at 8 years old, asked to stop coming. "She says it's too hard," Linda explained. "She's confused. Her friends ask about you. She doesn't know what to tell them." Darius had agreed to stop visitation, for Maya's sake. He'd spent the next 8 years working whatever jobs he could find. Security guard, warehouse worker, eventually janitor. He'd stayed in the same city as Maya. Took the job at Patterson's gym specifically because he learned she trained there, just to be near her, to see her grow up even from a distance. For 3 years, he'd mopped those floors. For 3 years, he'd been invisible. For 3 years, he'd watched Trevor Banks build a reputation on money Darius knew came from somewhere suspicious. He'd never had proof, but he'd heard 2 voices in the locker room that night, after his fight, while he was showering. "Banks did what we paid him for. Williams is out." Good. He wouldn't throw fights. Too noble. Now we controlled the division. He'd looked for the men, found the locker room empty. By the time he'd dressed, they were gone. He'd told the commission. They'd filed a report. No follow-up ever came. 2 months later, Trevor Banks received an inheritance. Now, Darius pulled on workout clothes and went to the small courtyard behind his building. A patch of concrete, chalk marks on the ground from where kids played basketball. He marked out a 5x5 square, the approximate size of an MMA ring. Then he practiced. Footwork first, tiny steps, weight on the balls of his feet, moving forward, backward, lateral. His shadow on the concrete moved with liquid precision. Then defense, slip left, slip right, duck, weave, all without blocking, pure evasion. He practiced one specific counter move 50 times, a body shot, not thrown hard, just placed perfectly. Solar plexus, right where the ribs meet the diaphragm, a shot that would stop breathing without causing injury. He practiced until the movement was automatic, muscle memory taking over. At 10 a.m., he stopped, walked to a corner store, bought a protein bar and water, returned to his apartment. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "Dad, it's Maya. Don't do this tomorrow, please. I don't want you to get hurt." She'd never texted him before. He didn't even know she had his number. He typed back, "I love you, baby girl. See you tomorrow." She didn't respond. That night, across town, Trevor Banks couldn't sleep. He sat in his home gym staring at a heavy bag. His wife had gone to bed hours ago. On the wall of his gym hung a poster. Darius Silent Storm Williams, holding the championship belt. The photo was from 2014. Trevor had bought it when he was 22 years old, when he'd first started training, before everything went wrong. He remembered watching Williams fight, remembered thinking, that's what I want to be. Then came his father's diagnosis. Stage 4 cancer. Treatment not covered by insurance. $200,000 in medical bills. Then came the men in suits. They'd found Trevor, promised money. All he had to do was one small thing. Put this in his water bottle. After the fight, before testing, no one will know. They'd offered $50,000. Trevor had done it. His father had lived another 2 years, good years, pain-free years. But Trevor had never forgotten what he'd done. Now, staring at that poster, he whispered, "I'm sorry." The poster didn't answer. Sunday, 6 p.m. The gym had been transformed. The main training area cleared. A makeshift ring marked with tape on the floor. Chairs arranged in rows, every seat filled. 317 people. Word had spread beyond the gym community. People came from across the city. Someone had posted about it on social media. Disgraced fighter versus his former teammate, 10 years of bad blood. The story had grown with each retelling. Dylan was recording everything on his phone. He'd set up a tripod. "This is going to get 1 million views," he told his friends. Mr. Patterson stood at the center of the ring area holding a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind everyone that this is a sanctioned sparring match. 5 minutes, standard MMA rules. No strikes to the back of the head. No groin shots. No eye gouging. I will stop this if anyone is seriously injured." He looked at both men. "Gentlemen, do you understand and agree?" Trevor entered first. He wore red shorts and black gloves. His walkout was aggressive, shadow boxing, bouncing on his toes. The crowd cheered. These were his students, his supporters. Then Darius entered. Black shorts, white tape on his hands, no gloves yet. Mr. Patterson would provide those. He walked to the ring in silence. No showboating, no acknowledgement of the crowd. Maya stood in the back, near the emergency exit. Her hood was up. She'd almost not come, but she needed to see this, needed to see how it ended. The men met in the center, Mr. Patterson between them. "Gentlemen, we have rules. Follow them, respect them. This is not a street fight. This is controlled sparring." "Sure," Trevor said. "Controlled." Darius said nothing. They touched gloves. Trevor's hand was shaking slightly. Darius noticed. The timer started, 5 minutes. Trevor came out aggressive. 3 quick jabs, a cross, a leg kick. Darius wasn't there for any of them. He'd moved 6 inches, no more, just enough. Trevor threw again. Hook, uppercut, overhand right. Air. Darius's footwork was minimal. Tiny adjustments, weight shifts. His head moved on a different axis from his body. Trevor's punches missed by margins so small they looked like they should have landed. "Stand still!" Trevor shouted. The crowd murmured. Mrs. Chen leaned forward in her seat. "Oh my God," she whispered. 30 seconds gone. Trevor pressed forward, throwing combinations now. Jab, cross, hook, kick. A flurry of strikes. Darius slipped between them like water through fingers. He hadn't thrown a single punch. Dylan lowered his phone slightly. "How is he?" 60 seconds. Trevor was breathing hard now. Frustration made his technique sloppy. He lunged in with a takedown attempt. Darius's hips moved back, just enough. Trevor's arms closed on nothing. Trevor stumbled. "Fight me!" Trevor yelled. "Throw something!" Darius circled. His breathing was steady, in through nose, out through mouth. "I am," Darius said quietly. 90 seconds. The older members of the crowd began to recognize something. The way Darius moved, the economy of motion, the precision. Thomas Morrison, 58 years old, stood up. "Holy shit," he said, "I know who that is." His neighbor shushed him, but Thomas was staring at Darius like he'd seen a ghost. 2 minutes. Trevor was gasping now, throwing wild hooks, desperate. His punches had no technique, just rage and fear. One punch got close, a hook that should have landed on Darius's temple. Darius caught it. His hand closed around Trevor's fist mid-air, held it. The crowd gasped. Darius looked Trevor in the eyes. "You know what you have to do, Trevor." Trevor jerked his hand away, staggered back. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. "That's Silent Storm," Thomas Morrison said louder. "That's Darius Williams, the champion." People pulled out phones, started Googling. The name spread through the crowd like wildfire. "No way. The guy from 2015? I thought he was banned." "Look at him move!" Trevor heard the whispers. Panic crossed his face. He charged in, completely uncontrolled. Darius sidestepped. Trevor's momentum carried him into the tape boundary. He caught himself on the rope. 3 minutes. Trevor turned, chest heaving. His hands dropped to his knees. I can't breathe." "You can," Darius said. 4 counts in, 7 hold, 8 out. Breathe, Trevor. Trevor looked up, confusion and fear in his eyes. Darius stood in fighting stance. Still hadn't thrown a punch. "This isn't about hurting you. It's about truth." Trevor straightened, threw one more combination. Weak, slow, desperate. Darius slipped them all. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. "Please," Trevor said. He wasn't talking to Darius. He was talking to himself. Please don't make me. He lunged forward one last time, a sloppy right hand, no technique, just hope. Darius's counter was surgical. One body shot. Not thrown hard, but placed perfectly, right at the solar plexus, where the ribs meet the diaphragm. Trevor's eyes went wide. All air left his lungs. His knees buckled. He dropped to the mat. Not knocked out, conscious, just unable to breathe, his diaphragm spasming, his body in shock. Darius stood over him, offered his hand. Trevor took it. Let Darius pull him up. Mr. Patterson stepped between them. That's it, fight's over. Winner, Williams. The crowd erupted, but not in cheers, in stunned silence, then in noise, everyone talking at once. He barely moved. Did you see that footwork? That's championship level? I can't believe. Thomas Morrison was on his phone, pulling up old fight videos. Look at this. That's him. Same exact style. The videos played. Darius from 2014, moving exactly the same way, the same slips, the same footwork, the same controlled precision. Recognition spread through the gym like a wave. It's really him. Silent Storm, the champion. Trevor was on his knees crying, not from pain, from guilt. Darius knelt beside him. I know it's hard, but they need to hear it. Maya needs to hear it. Trevor looked up, saw Maya standing in the back, saw 300 people with phones out recording. I'm sorry, Trevor whispered. God, Darius, I'm so sorry. I know, Darius said. Now everyone else needs to know. He helped Trevor to his feet. Mr. Patterson handed Trevor the microphone. 317 people went silent. Trevor held the microphone. His hand shook so badly the device rattled. He looked at Darius, then at Maya, then at the 300 faces watching him. Darius Williams never took steroids, he said. The gym went dead silent. I did it. I was paid to tamper with his water bottle after his fight in December 2015, before the drug test. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A betting syndicate wanted him out of the division, Trevor continued. His voice cracked. He wouldn't throw fights. He had integrity, so they used me to destroy him instead. Trevor, Mr. Patterson started. No. Trevor held up a hand. Let me finish. I need to finish. He took a breath. Tears ran down his face. My father had cancer, stage 4. I needed money for treatment. These men approached me, offered $50,000. All I had to do was put something in his water bottle, after the fight, before testing. He looked at Darius. I thought it would just be one fight. I thought you'd lose the title but keep fighting. I didn't know they'd ban you, didn't know they'd destroy your whole life. You knew, Darius said quietly. You just didn't care enough to stop. Trevor nodded. You're right, I knew, and I did it anyway. Maya pushed through the crowd, stopped 10 feet from her father. Her face was wet with tears. I've been coaching here for 6 years, Trevor said. Every day I saw him cleaning, knowing what I did to him, knowing he was here because of his daughter, knowing she wouldn't speak to him because of my lie. He turned to Mr. Patterson. The inheritance I told you about, that was the payoff. $50,000 to ruin a good man. I used it to invest in this gym. I built my reputation on his stolen future. The lawyer, David Reeves, stood up. Mr. Banks, you understand you're confessing to conspiracy, fraud, and tampering with athletic testing? This is being recorded by dozens of people. I understand, Trevor said. I'll submit written testimony to the State Athletic Commission tomorrow morning. I'll name everyone I can remember. I'll testify in any proceeding they open. He walked to Darius, held out the microphone. Tell them, Trevor said. Tell them who you really are. Darius took the microphone. My name is Darius Silent Storm Williams, he said. His voice was steady, clear. National MMA champion 2012 through 2015. Record, 28 wins, 1 loss. That loss shouldn't exist. But the 28 wins are real. Every one of them earned with skill and honor. He looked around the gym, at all the faces, at the phones recording. I didn't come here for revenge, he said. I came here to work, to be near my daughter, to try to be part of her life in the only way I could, from a distance. His eyes found Maya. But I couldn't let her grow up believing her father was a coward and a cheat. I couldn't let that lie define who I am, who we are. He lowered the microphone. Trevor made a mistake, a terrible mistake. But he told the truth when it mattered most. That takes courage. The gym was silent. Then Thomas Morrison stood up, started clapping. Mrs. Chen joined him. Then Dylan. Then others. Within seconds, the entire gym was on its feet. Not for the fight, for the truth. The crowd pressed forward. People wanted to shake Darius's hand, to apologize, to touch someone who'd endured injustice and survived. I'm sorry I judged you, one woman said. I should have listened when you corrected my form, a student added. Hey, can I interview you, a local reporter asked. This story needs to be told. But Darius was only looking at one person. Maya stood frozen, 20 feet away, the crowd between them. Then someone moved aside, then another. A path opened. Maya walked forward, slowly, each step deliberate. She stopped 10 feet from him. You never took steroids, she said. Not a question, a statement. No, Darius said. You never cheated. No. You never abandoned me. Never. His voice broke. Not for 1 second. Maya's face crumpled. I called you a liar. I said I hated you. I wouldn't visit. I made Mom keep you away. You were a child, Darius said. You believed what you were told. That's not your fault, baby girl. It was never your fault. I should have known, Maya sobbed. I should have believed you. How could you? Darius asked gently. The whole world said I was guilty. Your mother said it. The courts said it. Even I couldn't prove otherwise. Why would an 8-year-old girl believe differently? Maya crossed the remaining distance, threw her arms around her father. They held each other for the first time in 10 years. The gym was silent except for her crying. Darius whispered in her ear. I watched you grow up. Every class, every technique you learned. I saw it all. Even when you couldn't see me, I was there, always. I'm so sorry, Dad, Maya said. Nothing to forgive, he replied. You're here now. That's all that matters. They stood like that for a long time, the crowd giving them space, phones recording but respectfully distant. Finally, Maya pulled back, wiped her eyes. What happens now? Now? Darius smiled. Now we start over, if you want to. I want to, she said immediately. I want to know my father, the real one. Mr. Patterson approached. Darius, I owe you an apology. I employed you for 3 years and never once asked your story, never once looked beyond what I was told. You gave me a job when no one else would, Darius said. You let me be near my daughter. That's more than enough. It's not enough, Patterson said. I'd like to offer you a position, head coach, your rightful place. The crowd murmured approval. Darius considered this, then shook his head. I appreciate it, but I'd like to propose something different. Name it. Youth development coach, Darius said. Free classes for underprivileged kids, kids from poor families, kids who get told they're nothing, kids who need someone to believe in them when the system doesn't. Patterson smiled. Done. When can you start? Tomorrow, Darius said. If that's okay with you, Maya? Maya laughed through tears. Yes, God, yes. Trevor approached. He'd been sitting alone, head in hands. Now he stood before Darius. What happens to me? He asked. Darius studied him. You coach the adults. I coach the kids. And you spend the next 10 years proving you're not the scared 28-year-old who made a deal with criminals. Trevor blinked. You want me to stay? I want you to do better, Darius said. Running away won't fix what you broke. Staying, working, teaching integrity, that might... I don't deserve... This isn't about deserve, Darius interrupted. This is about choosing who you become next. You can be the guy who destroyed someone and ran, or you can be the guy who told the truth and rebuilt. Your choice. Trevor looked at the ground, then nodded. I'll stay. I'll do the work. Good, Darius said. He extended his hand. Trevor shook it. The next morning, news spread across social media. Disgraced champion exonerated after 10 years. Gym showdown exposes conspiracy. By Tuesday, the Athletic Commission issued a statement. In light of new testimony from Trevor Banks, we are reopening the investigation into Darius Williams' 2015 suspension. A full review will be conducted. By Friday, the commission released their findings. Mr. Williams' suspension is hereby lifted. His record is restored to 28-1. His championship title from 2012 to 2015 is reinstated. We apologize for the miscarriage of justice. 3 weeks later, Darius taught his first youth class. 20 kids, ages 8 to 16, some from the gym, many from the community youth center, all on scholarship. Maya was his assistant instructor. She demonstrated a guard position. My dad says technique beats strength every time, and integrity beats technique. One small boy raised his hand. What's integrity mean? Maya looked at Darius. He smiled. Integrity, she said, means being who you are even when the world says you're something else, even when it costs you everything. The kids nodded, not fully understanding, but they would, in time. After class, Darius sat in his new office. Small, clean, a nameplate on the door. Coach Williams, Youth Development. On his desk sat 2 photos. 1, Maya at 6 with his championship belt. 2, Maya at 16, taken last week, both of them smiling. A knock on the door. A young black boy, maybe 10 years old, nervous. Coach Williams? The boy asked. Come in, Darius said. The boy entered, stood awkwardly. They said you teach kids like me, kids who get told they're nothing. Darius's chest tightened. He gestured to a chair. Sit down, what's your name? Dylan, the boy said. Dylan. Well, Dylan, Darius said gently. Let me tell you a story about a man who lost everything. His title, his family, his reputation, and how he learned what he was really made of. The boy leaned forward. Darius began. 10 years ago, I was at the top of my career. Champion. Respected. Then, in one night, everything changed. Someone lied about me, and the whole world believed it. What did you do? Dylan asked. I kept going, Darius said. Even when it hurt. Even when no one believed me. Even when my own daughter wouldn't speak to me, I kept going. Because the truth matters, and who you really are, that can never be taken away. Only you can give it up. Dylan nodded slowly. My teacher says I'll never be anything. Says kids from my neighborhood don't succeed. Your teacher is wrong, Darius said. He stood, walked around the desk, knelt to the boy's eye level. You know what makes a champion? Not where you start, not what people say. It's about showing up, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. That's real strength. The boy's eyes filled with tears. Will you teach me? Yes, Darius said. But first, I need you to make a promise. No matter what happens, no matter who doubts you, you never forget who you really are. Can you do that? Yes, sir, Dylan said. Good. Darius stood. Class starts tomorrow at 4. Bring a water bottle and a good attitude. Everything else I'll provide. The boy smiled, ran out of the office. Darius returned to his desk, looked at the photos, at his daughter, at his past and his present. He thought about the last 10 years, the pain, the loss, the silence. He thought about Trevor's confession, about 300 witnesses, about truth emerging in its own time. He pulled out his journal, wrote a single line. They tried to bury me. They didn't know I was a seed. He closed the journal, turned off the light. Tomorrow, 20 kids would arrive. 20 kids who needed someone to believe in them. 20 kids who needed to learn that their worth wasn't determined by their circumstances. 20 kids who needed to know that the strongest move isn't throwing a punch. It's knowing when not to. Darius locked his office door, walked through the gym. The late evening light streamed through the windows, casting long shadows across the mats. Maya was waiting by the entrance. Ready to go, Dad? Yeah, baby girl, he said. Let's go home. They walked out together, father and daughter, champion and student. Two people who'd found their way back to each other through 10 years of darkness. The door closed behind them. In the gym, the lights dimmed, but the story, the true story, was just beginning to spread. Truth always does.